Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show podcast, coming from right here in our quaint little studio. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. I'm joined in studio today by Robert Meyer Burnett.
Greetings, program.
Jonathan Voico.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
Chris Carr is here.
Were we supposed to have something cute planned?
You did it. You just did that.
Okay.
Just by nature, you're cute.
Oh, thanks, guys.
But most importantly, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here, making our little show part of your day. And here's how our show's going to go. We're going to start off by talking about a few predetermined topics. Then in the second part of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. If you have a thought, theory, opinion, question, or topic you'd like us to address, as long as we deem it appropriate to be addressed on our show, go ahead and fire it on into our tip link at www.streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip. Now, here's the good news about this. If you are listening to the show a little bit later on the day on our podcast feed, either on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcasting app of choice, or if you're watching this show later in the day when we're not live, you can still use this tip link 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Send on in a question. If you send one in when we're not live, we'll just get around to answering it on our next episode. All right, guys. With that down, let's get started with this, shall we? Well, tonight's night. It seemed like we waited forever for Daredevil Born Again to come. And here we are now on the day of the season finale. Daredevil Born Again, season 1, finale tonight. And I thought we would take a second to talk about what our final predictions are. What things do we see happening? Do we expect a cliffhanger? Do we expect it to tie it off the story and just maybe introduce a story for next year? What are we expecting? So here are a couple of things that I'm expecting. Number one, I'm going to go out on a limb here. Big swing. Daredevil lives. Yep.
What?
Big shooting for the fences on that one. Going to go way out there. Daredevil survives. But I don't think Vanessa does.
Vanessa.
That's my big one. Vanessa. I don't think Vanessa survives. I have nothing to base this on whatsoever, but looking at the parallel journeys, we've talked about this a little bit before. When we look at the parallel journeys that this entire season has been about Wilson and Matt, and how everything is just kind of, they've been mirroring each other the entire season. I think Vanessa and Heather die. I think both of them die, and that gives them, again, that will give Kingpin and Daredevil another shared sort of point of reference about them, about tragedy and loss. Both will probably blame the other for their deaths, which is going to ramp up their animosity towards each other even more. So that's number one. The second thing that I'm guessing, Foggy makes an appearance. Now, we already know they've confirmed that Foggy will be back for season 2, whether that'll just be in flashbacks or whether he's alive. I have a feeling whether it's at the very end of the episode, sometime during the mid-credits, that maybe, possibly, we see Foggy show up at some point, and maybe it'll be the last shot. Hey, Matt. And it's like, what? And the whole camera, zooming in while pulling out effect sort of thing.
Me like, John, it's me from the afterlife.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. Maybe they'll have a little bit of a ghost moment. Matt will be doing pottery. So that's, I'm just going out on a limb. So,
wow.
And
what a great reference to pull out.
We all got it.
My last prediction, it's not really so much. I mean, I think it makes it's clear that Kingpin will still be mayor of New York by the end of the show, which prompts a lot of people to wonder, is he going to be the mayor of New York during Thunderbolts? Because we see a number of things happening in New York during Thunderbolts. I don't think so. I still think he's going to be there. I think Baby Soprano either gets framed or offed. I think we're going to find out that Kingpin has just been playing this kid and set him up to hold the bag for something that Kingpin otherwise would get busted for. So those are my 3 predictions going into, probably none of them will come to pass, but that's just me making some wild speculation as a fan. Chris, what about you? Going into the finale tonight, What are you thinking we're going to see happen?
I'm actually on the same page as you for a bunch of these.
Really?
Especially because of what the showrunners have talked about. All right. So they have both said, this is coming from directors Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead, saying that the finale is extraordinarily violent, both on a practical effects kind of level, but also just from a filmmaking standpoint, and say that it is, quote, so brutally tragic, a bonanza of bonkers visuals.
Wow.
So I feel like this is going to be wildly, wildly violent. I honestly, with Muse, right, had been expecting the eye gouging and everything because that's such a big moment in the comic. So I do think we're going to have some kind of really horrible, violent act here. I do think both women will die to further that parallel between them. And I think why it's so brutally tragic is that Matt is going to cross that line and then see Foggy. And then we are entering into the Secret Life of Foggy Nelson arc back from 2006, where he had faked his own death and went into witness protection. And I think we're going to see Matt struggling with he finally actually killed somebody in the name of Foggy, in the name of whatever, what he thought was justice, and now has to come to terms with taking a life, even if it was somebody who was problematic and violent themselves.
Rob, what about you? You got any big, bold predictions for
No,
tonight?
I agree with all of you. I just think the episode's going to end with Kingpin and Matt Murdock sitting back in that diner. They're looking at each other, and both of them are going to be like, "Yeah, bitches be shopping." That's all they're going to say. Their ladies are gone. No, I don't think that's actually going to happen. But no, I think you guys have been nailing it. Like we've talked about how you've got a parallel track of these gentlemen. And look, they're both trying to. I think Kingpin really loves Vanessa.
Oh, deeply.
And you have, and I think Matt is really trying to make a relationship and this thing work in his own life. And they truly are men that want to love and are open to love, but their lives and ambition, ultimately, it dooms them both. It's part of their, it's very Shakespearean, it's very biblical. There's a lot of biblical references in Daredevil. And I think that they've done a great job this season ratcheting this up. And like what Chris said, going back to that arc, when they bring back Foggy and do that arc, I mean, talk about Catholic guilt. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're gonna leave this series on. I think wherever it's gonna go, Kingpin's gonna be forming his anti-vigilante squad, which we know is part of the second season, and Matt's gonna have to. There are going to be teams built on either side. They're going to go to war. They're going to be two generals that are now going to go to war. And I think that's where they're going to leave the series. And I think both women, unfortunately, will probably pay the price of this. And it's going to light a fuse that's going to consume the city next season, which is, I mean, for us, as people being entertained, what a great way to leave it. Like, I'm like, yeah, man. But all in all, I think it's been a slow burn, but really beautifully structured. I mean, I really think that this is, it might not have hit the highs of the Netflix show, but it's ratcheted back up to the level of it. It came back and it built its way up and it's earned its position now, because it couldn't just come out of the gate and be what we got on Netflix. It had to forge its own identity, and I think it really did a good job of that. And the last episode and this what we expect to happen. What great TV.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they have knocked it out of the park. This show, regardless of what happens in the finale, I mean, this show is worthy of being in the season count of the Netflix series. I'm not saying it's as good as the best that we had at Netflix, but it's worthy of being in there with the.
Well, it was doing something. It succeeded. It set out to do something, and it succeeded in doing that. Mm-hmm. That you've got it. The ambition was there, and they executed on it, and that's all we want.
Exactly.
By the way, I should let people know that normally we do our Daredevil post-game show the night Daredevil airs. However, it will not be tonight. The Daredevil season finale post-game show will be tomorrow, because I'm going to be at a screening of Accountant 2 tonight. Ooh. So we're going to have to do... they're doing a special fan screening on tax day.
Oh.
I know.
That's
right?
hilarious.
And they're doing a special tax day screening of The Accountant tonight in a bunch of theaters around the country. So we got our tickets to go see that. So we're going we're going to have to do our post-game show tomorrow night.
Oh, real quick, I will say I don't think Daniel's going to get got this season. I think he needs to be further radicalized. I think he's going to become more and more like Kingpin. We have to see him do something really dirty before they kill him, I think, or incredibly optimistic, and then we all break.
That would make sense too. That would fit.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, question is for you. What are you expecting to see out of the season finale of Daredevil tonight? Got some guesses, or are you really more like me where you really just don't care? You're just looking forward to seeing what they're going to give us. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Lilo and Stitch is coming, and I think it is going to make a lot of money. Not necessarily on its opening per se, but it's going to have long legs, and it's going to, I think, make all the money as long as the movie's good, which I think it will be. Well, as a point of comparison, Disney's really happy to hear this because, you know, they just had, I don't know if you heard, some disappointing box office results with Snow White, which has made, up until this point, after 4 weeks in theaters, its grand domestic total is about $80-something million. Worldwide, it's like 180 something, but still tragically low. Well, Lilo and Stitch is looking at making more money in its opening weekend than Snow White has in its entire theatrical run. This comes to us from CBR wrote, Stitch is eyeing a 100 million plus. By the way, I think it's going to destroy that number. I think it's going to go way past it. Stitch is eyeing a $100 million plus 3-day opening over Memorial Day weekend. If that tracking holds, Lilo and Stitch will surpass the entire domestic box office run of Snow White, which has made $81.9 million in one single weekend. As a 100 million plus opening would also be roughly 3 times larger than the opening of Mufasa the Lion King at 35.4. By the way, just a reminder, that movie went on to make $700 million. The second last live action adaptation of a Disney animated classic. And again, Mufasa was not live action. The original animated Lilo and Stitch grossed close to 275 million worldwide during its theatrical run.
Well, that's all?
Yeah, but remember how long ago that was.
Yeah.
With the early tracking only factoring in a domestic opening, the upcoming live action remake could easily surpass the original's worldwide total after a single weekend, so long as the international box office performs just slightly better than its domestic counterpart. All right. So we've been saying for a while that we think this thing's going to make a ton of money. And I think this is going to be one of those movies that makes even more money overseas than it does here. And my wife, Ann, travels the world a lot. And she's like, everywhere she goes, all she saw was Lilo and Stitch stuff. London, Lilo and Stitch stuff. Paris, Lilo and Stitch stuff. Like Lilo is everywhere. And their marketing for Lilo and Stitch has been fantastic. Like everything from that little Super Bowl gimmick they pulled with the actual trailers have been delightful and charming and wonderful. This thing's going to make a lot of money. So, Rob, let me ask you this. Lilo and Stitch comes out, makes more money in its opening weekend than Snow White does in its entire theatrical run. Is this more a commentary on how big Lilo and Stitch is, or more of a commentary on the box office failure of Snow White?
That's a good question. But look, I've always looked at, and I've always said, every studio is one great movie away from a successful IP again. And Disney classic animation, even though they're different movies, is overall their intellectual property that built that studio. I think it's more of a commentary on Lilo and Stitch itself, to be honest. I don't think Snow White's disappointing box office has anything at all to do with Lilo and Stitch. I really don't. I think that was a confluence of it's a lemony snicket situation.
Series of unfortunate events?
Series of unfortunate events. But Lilo and Stitch has been handled, first of all, it looks like the movie itself is beautiful. I mean, the stuff we've seen, the stuff we saw at CinemaCon, even I am interested in going opening weekend, if for no other reason than to sit in a theater full of families and just feel the joy that they're feeling. I mean, if you're having a bad day, go see Lilo and Stitch.
Absolutely.
It's gonna. I mean that. Even in me, dark-hearted soul that I am, watching that footage. Every time I've seen anything from that movie,
Oh, I love this picture.
you can't help but have a smile on your face. I mean, it's going to make all the money, like we said, but I don't think it has anything to do with Snow White. I think it's because they've nailed it. They nailed it.
Chris, what do you think?
Oh, this movie isn't going to make a lot of money. It's going to make all the money. It's going to make every money possible.
Every money.
Every money there. Look at how cute this little frame is right here. Holy butts. Yeah. Oh, they're so adorable. I mean, Stitch looks incredible. He looks
Incredible.
Great.
I mean,
He is
fitting in
so
the frame.
well rendered. Oh, I love him. And it's Chris Sanders back doing the voice and everything. Which, fun fact, originally in the animated film, Stitch was not going to speak. And a lot of his panting and things, they actually hold a dog up to a mic. Which is very upsetting as somebody who does creature work and has trained to make myself do those noises. Hire me, Disney. Come on, let's go. But I think this is going to do really, really well. I think it's so precious. And I think, like Rob brought up, the Snow White stuff, too, is more of a, 1,000 cuts kind of death. There were so many things going against that film. Other people brought in their own preconceived notions about what the movie was going to be, what they thought about the stars of the film, etc., etc. The dwarves were kind of freaky looking. There was a whole bunch of stuff going on there.
It didn't help that the movie wasn't very good.
This too.
Yeah.
But even most people I know too just didn't go see it. Where they're like, "Oh, that looks like trash." And okay, they just made that decision based on the trailers or how they felt about Rachel Zegler or Gal Gadot or whatever. This looks charming as heck. This looks really, really fun. And Rob, we should go see this and just get Mai Tais. We need to hit up an AMC.
Well, I like the
go to
way you think.
McGuffins, yeah, and then we have some tropical drinks and we enjoy this film.
Yes.
Now,
Let's
how many
sneak them in.
people, to piggyback on the Minecraft chicken jockey thing, how many people going to see Lilo and Stitch are purposely going to spill and drop their drinks and their things on the floor?
Not if it's alcohol, because that's expensive.
That's true.
That's true. It's expensive.
Yeah,
Kids
with
with their
Mai
ice
Tais,
creams
it'll
are going to
be
drop
sticky.
them on the floor just like the guy in the movie.
You don't want to do that.
No.
All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about this? Tracking right now, a little ways out, is Lilo and Stitch is going to make over $100 million opening weekend, which would beat the entire domestic run of Snow White in one single weekend. How big of a weekend do you think it can have? I think the bigger question is what kind of legs is it going to have and leg it out. I mean, if you get the same Mufasa thing where it opened with 35 and made 700 million, is Lilo going to be $1 billion film? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Cate Blanchett is a top 5 greatest actress of all time. I mean, obviously, that's a subjective opinion, yes, but I will have that argument and debate with anybody. You want to debate that? I'll debate it with you. 8-time Academy Award nominated actress, 2 times winning. She won her first one for The Aviator, which she was in with Leonardo DiCaprio, and she won her second one, I think it was for Blue Velvet.
Blue Jasmine.
That's what it is. Thank you. Blue Velvet was a completely different movie.
Yeah, a little earlier.
Won her second one for that. Nominated 8 times. Probably should have won at least 2 others. To be honest, if we go through the list, there's a couple of years I thought she should. I think she should have like 4 Oscars on her mantle. At any rate, she is simply one of the greatest actresses of all time. So great that when you massively miscast her in something like Borderlands, a lot of people still went, but it's Cate Blanchett.
Yeah.
so you kind of give it a pass a little bit. Well, now Cate Blanchett is talking about retiring. The 55-year-old actress, who's just kind of in the height of her power right now, I kind of feel, is talking about walking away from it all because she's just got other things she wants to do now. This comes to us from an article in Men's Journal. Who writes this: despite being one of the powerful performers in the film industry right now, Blanchett is seriously contemplating retirement. During an interview with the Radio Times, she opened up about her future as an actress. "My family roll their eyes every time I say it, but I mean it," Blanchett told the Radio Times. "I am serious about giving up acting." Blanchett is considered moving on from acting because, as she said, there is a lot of other things she still wants to do with her life. All right. I can understand this. I mean, I've been in a position for the last couple of years where I've been kind of circling dates about when I'm going to retire, not because I don't love what I do, but because there's a lot of other things I'd like to do. And when you're Cate Blanchett, who, let's face it, no actress is ever going to meet the plateau of the street monster. I mean, so that's not an achievable thing. She's never going to be the greatest actress of all time. But if you're Cate Blanchett, what else do you have to do? You've been nominated for the highest honor in acting 8 times. You've won SAGs, Golden Globes, everything, BAFTAs. You are one of the most popular, beloved, famous people in the business. You've got all the money you possibly need. And do you want to up and travel to sets for 3 months at a time anymore? Now listen, we recently had Daniel Day-Lewis, who is the greatest actor, performer of all time, period, end sentence. and he stayed retired for years. And he came out of retirement. Now, granted, that's a little bit of an extenuating circumstances for his son's movie. His son's directing a film, so he came out for that. So we'll give him a little bit of a pass on that. But anyway, Chris, you hear Cate Blanchett saying she's going to walk away from acting soon. Number one, do you believe her? And if she does, do you think this is the right move for her? What do you think?
I believe her for a time. I
Right.
think it's the right move if she's not being interested and challenged at this point. But I feel like there's always going to be that other script. There's always going to be that, well, this one does look exciting or intriguing. Or, who's to say? Maybe she'll have a whole Sean Connery attitude about it, of just talking about how retirement is too damn fun. And why would she go back to it? I real quickly just want to point out, if you Google Cate Blanchett retiring, the various headlines are hysterical.
No, no.
Like, the Hollywood Reporter just says, Cate Blanchett says she plans on retiring from acting soon. I'm serious. The Guardian, I'm giving up. Cate Blanchett says she's retiring from acting. AV Club,
I'm giving up.
Cate Blanchett threatens to retire for real this time. They just escalate as you go further on.
Threatens. I love that. She
Threatens
to
to.
retire.
Well, what are we
She's not
gonna
gonna be
what are
in
we
your
gonna do
movies.
about this threat? We have to do something.
We have to do
Take this
something. We have to
sitting
stop
down.
her. But I mean, she's done such incredible work, and I'm sure she has so many other things she wants to do. I'm interested to hear what those things are, though. Does she want to direct more? Does she want to write more? Does she want to do something completely removed from the industry? Is she also going to go to space for 5 seconds? What is she up to? I want to know.
Rob, what do you make of this?
Well, it's interesting because we look at the movie business as being the end all be all of human experience. And when you're Cate Blanchett and you've done this, unless she wants to direct or wants to become a screenwriter, she's accomplished what she wanted to do. She succeeded.
Yeah,
She won.
She won.
She won. And once you've done that, to keep doing the same thing, it's like, oh, I know I'm good, or maybe she has a story she's passionate about, but I could see her retiring. She's Galadriel.
Mm-hmm.
And she's won 2 Oscars. Her movie that she just did, she worked with Soderbergh. Black Bag was great. It was a movie that was, not a lot of people saw it, but it's a great film. I thought it was a great film. And now the business has changed. The perception of movies in our culture is different now. And it's like, the same thing that Quentin Tarantino's saying, even though we don't believe him, he would have had 10 movies. Cate Blanchett has dozens of films now. What more does she have to prove? And maybe she can go and do something that could be equally important to the world at large, if not more so. I don't know what that is, but she's got the time and she's got the clout that if she wanted to pivot and go into a whole new realm of experience, there's a lot more she can still accomplish and maybe contribute to the world in a different way. And that could be a great thing.
I want to ask you guys, if she were to retire, since we're on the topic of Cate Blanchett, again, one of the greatest actresses ever. I want to ask, what's your favorite performance of hers? And I'll start. And I know this is going to sound like recency bias because it is one of her more newer ones. But and remember I said a little bit earlier, there's probably a couple of other Oscars she should have on her mantle.
Oh,
Tar.
Tar's incredible.
Dude.
Like her performance in Tar, that was like a master class. That was an instructional video in acting.
Mm-hmm.
Like she was so good in that. And I think once she said, what's one stands out to you?
I mean, obviously Galadriel's a standout for sure. Her in Lord of the Rings is so good. But I love her in The Aviator. I think she
Yeah.
did such a killer job being Katharine Hepburn. So good.
Which she won an Academy Award for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First of all, I love The Aviator in general. That movie, the first half of it's all about making movies.
It's the way of the
I
future.
love, in terms of the scene when DiCaprio goes to Cate Blanchett's, to Katharine Hepburn's family and has that meal at her house. I love that scene. It always pops up in my feed because I watch it so many times. But John, that Tar was my favorite movie the year it came out.
Yep.
I have an unhealthy obsession with that film. And I can't tell you how many times. I probably watched that movie 20 times. And whenever somebody writes on Twitter, Lydia Tar will return, I'm all into that. That performance and that movie, she's absolutely fearless. And it might be my favorite movie of the last 20 years. I swear to God.
It is really, I
great.
personally
It's
would put
not
it high, but
it's not an
great.
easy movie to love.
No.
It's a certain mindset, but it's so Kubrickian, and
She's also one of these actresses too that has been able to do. She's kind of like the Spielberg of acting. She can do every genre, everything. She's done the heaviest of dramas. We were just talking about a couple of them, but she's also been in some of the biggest pop culture stuff ever. Lord of the Rings as Galadriel, Thor's sister in
Ella,
the
she was
MCU.
amazing.
She was in an Indiana Jones movie. I know we like to forget about that one, but still, she was there.
She has. I mean, they did make a hot toy of her.
They did make a hot toy of her. I mean, she's just one of these multi-talented, multifaceted actors who can do just anything.
He loves that movie.
He does love that movie. It's not the worst Indiana Jones now, though.
Yeah, it's true.
In my opinion.
All right, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? One of the greatest actresses of all time, Kate Blanchett, is saying she's going to get ready to hang it up. She didn't say she's done as of right now, but she says she's imminently looking at hanging it up. Do you think she will? If so, what's your favorite performance of hers? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right. With that down, guys, let's move on and talk about this, shall we? Despite what you may or may not think about the Venom franchise, it was an unmitigated hit. It made them lots of money. And I personally love the first one. I love the first one. I quite liked the second one. Third one, jury's out a bit, but it made tons of money when you add up the whole thing. Now, a lot of people were expecting at some point that we would see Tom Holland's Spider-Man and Tom Hardy's Venom cross paths, especially since Sony and Marvel decided to have Tom Hardy in that one little post-credits scene at the bar and whatnot is going to cross over. And, you know, everybody thought they were sending it up, but it never happened. Now, Tom Hardy recently wrapped up the Venom franchise and said that his time as Venom was done. But a lot of people still believed no. They set it up at some point. We're going to get Tom Holland's Spider-Man and Tom Hardy's Venom. Well, Tom Hardy now seems to be putting an exclamation point on it, saying, oh, it might happen someday, but it won't be with me. This comes from CBR, who wrote, the actor went on, we almost got together because I remember being in the Spider-Man movie and it was connected and it just didn't happen. The trilogy is now over and it didn't happen. So it didn't get killed by anything. It just didn't happen. I've been misquoted there. People get excited about anything Venom or anything to do with superheroes and stuff, and it's sort of taken on another life. I just want to be clear that I didn't say that. Now, then he goes more specific. As for whether the crossover would still happen, Hardy insisted, there are always talks, but that doesn't mean that things manifested. There's a future where these things will continue to be talked about until something is realized, and I'm sure it will be at some point, but it just didn't happen with me. So Tom Hardy, it sounds like he's doubling down on this and basically saying, hey, listen, I'm sure at some point we are going to see Venom and Spider-Man together again, notwithstanding Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3. I'm sure we are going to see Venom and Spider-Man on screen together. I'm sure we're going to see Tom Holland's Spider-Man with a Venom at some point. Just not going to be with me. Now, Tom Hardy had done 3 films. He made his money on them. He was very influential in those films, but he also seems to be one of these actors that has a lot of different projects that he has available to him and that he'd like to do. Chris, I know you don't love or believe anybody.
I don't.
But I got to tell you what, I am completely, there are some actors I'm suspicious of. Like Quentin Tarantino says, I'm going to quit after 10. I don't believe that.
Yeah.
But Tom Hardy, the way he's even wording it, there doesn't seem to be a lot of wiggle room.
Yeah.
Like his people say, no, I'm sure Venom and Spider-Man are going to be there. So Tom Hardy replies, I'm sure they will. It just ain't going to be me. I don't know. Do you believe him at this point?
I do a little bit more now because what I've been holding on to is I don't think he's going to be Eddie Brock. But I think he could still turn up for the voice of Venom because I think he has a blast doing that. But this language makes me think that he might be completely down and out for this character now and moving on to different things. Which, I mean, we just finished talking about Cate Blanchett. Here is another incredibly dynamic actor who you can stick into any genre, who does wonderful work. And I'm sure he wants to try other things out. But that's why I thought maybe he'd stick at least to the voiceover.
Now that she's retiring, there's going to be some roles opening up.
Oh my
So
gosh.
with roles that she might have
We
otherwise
return
taken.
to Thor with... He's going to be hella. It's going to be amazing.
Is that how it works?
I would love that. But I think maybe he is kind of done and moving on to something else, especially because this is something that is constantly in flux, and they're constantly trying to figure out how they're going to have these two characters come together with all the different licensing issues. And we've seen how some actors wait around for their roles played, but maybe it's time for him to just go do something else for now, and he'll let somebody else take the mantle.
Rob, what do you think of Hardy's comments here? Do you believe him?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean he won't turn up in Secret Wars as Venom.
Oh.
Does this not mean he won't
No,
show up in Secret Wars as Venom?
I mean, here's the thing. No, I don't believe anybody when it comes to these big Marvel movies. They lie. But no, I think that Tom Hardy is a pretty serious actor.
Yeah.
And whenever I've seen him, I mean, he's done incredible. Now he's on what is it? I haven't watched the show yet. Crime.
Oh,
Land.
the one with Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah, and Helen Mirren.
Mob
Land or Mob Universe.
Mob
World.
something, yeah.
Mob University.
Mob University.
But no, I mean, it's like he's such a great. I just watched Bike Riders. I didn't see Bike Riders.
I like
Bike.
Bike Riders.
I liked it a lot. I got the disc and watch it. He's just an incredible actor, and I think making these movies, making big giant IP superhero films, is not, I think, the most challenging thing for an actor to do. A lot of waiting around, a lot of visual effects. And I think, to be honest, Tom Hardy now has a trilogy under his belt. Once you got a trilogy, you don't want to overstay your welcome. Then you end up with Thor: Love and Thunder, which is too bad. But the thing that I believe him. I believe him because I think he wants to do like what Cate Blanchett wants to do, other things, more things.
Yeah, and he's a guy that, like Cate Blanchett, he is the heaviest of serious dramatic actors, but he can do a Venom film. He can also do like comedy. Do you remember, it wasn't all that good, but he was really good in it. Do you remember this little comedy that he did with Chris Pine and Reese Witherspoon called Spy versus Spy or Spy or something like that? Overall, not a great movie, but he was like, he's got really great comedic chops, and he showed that as well in the Venom films.
This Means War.
Yeah.
Is that what it was called? This
Yeah.
Means War. Yeah, I think Spy versus Spy was like the tagline on it or something like that.
Aren't they like a cartoon, Spy versus Spy?
They were in Mad Magazine. Yeah, Spy versus Spy. They were a little thing in Mad Magazine.
But even like when he was in Inception, and there's that one moment where he says, "You have to dream bigger, darling."
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, he's got a great comedic sense. I'd love to see him play some I know they're remaking, Michael B. Jordan's remaking the Thomas Crown Affair, but like some global Pierce Brosnan, like in the second Thomas Crown Affair, like some debonair guy that's traveling around the world, screwing people over, but delighting in all of it, drinking fine wine, meeting fine women, driving fine cars. I mean, maybe I'm just wishing he was James Bond, but you never know.
All right, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? A lot of people still continue to believe that Tom Hardy will return as Venom and we'll eventually see him with Tom Holland Spider-Man, but he, at every opportunity, he's just keeps shooting it down. He says, look, I'm sure it will happen. It just ain't going to be with me. Do you believe him? It is true. Every once in a while, you get an Andrew Garfield that will lie, liars lie, but 98% of the time when an actor says they're not doing something, they don't do it. So I don't know. Do you buy it? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? As we eagerly await for Superman to hit screens in just a couple of months now, I'm so freaking excited for this movie. Ooh, you'd be forgiven if you kind of forgot the fact that Supergirl has been in production ever since the middle to late January. It's been in production for a number of months already. And to really put an exclamation point on that, Jason Momoa, who plays Lobo in it, has now come out and confirmed he's wrapped. And the movie is not wrapped. It's still going to shoot for a couple of more weeks into early May, but then it's going to be done overall. But Jason Momoa has said he is now wrapped. This comes to us from Screen Rant wrote, filming for DC Studios' Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow commenced in January and is set to continue through May. However, Jason Momoa recently revealed that he has completed all of his scenes. The actor who previously portrayed Aquaman in the now-canceled DCEU will play the iconic DC supervillain Lobo in the upcoming DC Universe film, which he had previously called his dream role. Supergirl also stars Millie Alcock, Eve Ridley, Matthias Schoenartz, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that correctly, David Krumholtz, and Emily Beecham. So then there's a post there from Jason himself, who wrote, "That's a wrap on Lobo. So thankful to play this role." And you know, as we look now at Momoa saying that he's now done, he's wrapped, he's completed doing this, I cannot help but think years ago, it's now years ago, guys, years ago, when we ran that story about Jason Momoa coming out of a meeting at Warner Brothers, jumping up and down and skipping through the lot of Warner Brothers while recording a video for social media, freaking out. He wouldn't tell people what it was for, but pretty quickly, almost everybody guessed he's going to play Lobo. Like, there were two guesses at the time. One, that his Aquaman was going to survive the termination of the DCEU and he would continue to play Aquaman in the new DCU. A lot of us didn't think that was likely. The only other potential option was really low. I mean, it could, listen, Jason Momoa years ago, before they cast Brandon Routh, I thought Jason Momoa could have been a good Superman, or a good Batman. I mean, before they cast Brandon Routh, that's the Superman. Before they cast Ben Affleck, I remember thinking that Jason Momoa might actually be a pretty good Batman. I still stand by that. I still think he actually would have made a pretty interesting Batman. That aside, it seemed that everybody kind of knew it was going to be Lobo, and now he's wrapped. Now, coinciding with him announcing that he's wrapped, you guys have seen this. It's flying all over the place on the interwebs. A supposed alleged picture of Jason Momoa as Lobo is out there. Now, it kind of looks like the same set that we saw the footage from Supergirl filming with the tanks and all that kind of stuff. However, there are a number of people who are questioning the validity, the veracity.
His face looks two different sizes in those shots.
Of the image. Now, I'll say this. If this is a fake, very well done fake. Very, very well done fake, if this is indeed a fake. The reasons for believing it, very practical. There's nothing fantastical about it. It looks very practical. It does seem to be on the same set and location that the Supergirl, which we do know was real. It kind of has the same look of the same place. I don't know. I'll just say this. I have no guess as to whether it's legit or not. You know, if this was still like 2001, it would be easy to tell a fake one from a real one. But today it's a little more tricky. I will say this, though. If it's real, and that's a huge bloody if it's real, I kind of dig it. I mean, I think it looks pretty good. I even like the bike. At first, I wasn't sure if I liked the bike, but the more I look at it, I like it. Again, I have no idea if it's legit or not, but I'm just saying I kind of like the image. Anyway, Rob, a couple of different issues here. Number one, we've been talking for years about him playing Lobo. He's now wrapped. He's done. I'm sure he'll play Lobo again someday, but he's now wrapped. So what do you think about him rapping on Supergirl? But also, and then what do you think about the image?
Well, first of all, I'm really excited for the Supergirl movie. What we've seen coming out of it, if that costume that they showed her in, if maybe that's a fake or whatever, but it looked great. I think Millie Alcott's a great choice to play Supergirl. I love the storyline they're basing the movie on.
Yeah.
But to me, I've loved Lobo. I think I read Lobo first, I want to say in the pages of Omega Men, which is a Teen Titans spinoff from the early 80s. I love that comic. And then the character got a little, broad and over the top. And I love the Simon Bisley stuff he did. But I think he looks great as Lobo. Like, there's not better casting than Momoa as Lobo. Again, in the way he's going to play it. I think he fits in perfectly to the DC universe that James Gunn is building. And it does lead me to hope that we will see the Omega Men at some point in the universe. And I would really like that to be the case. So I'm excited, man. There is nothing right now about what DC is doing that I'm not excited to see. I can't wait for this Brave and the Bold announcement whenever it happens. Supergirl sounds good.
The Clayface thing is interesting. That's really interesting.
But
this
if James
Clayface-
Mangold's going to do it, is he going to do Clayface? Who's doing Clayface?
no,
He's
it's
the- Mangold's
no,
doing
it's not. I don't think it's Mang.
Swamp-
Yeah,
Swamp
he's doing Swamp Thing, and supposedly a Star Wars movie. But I'll believe that when they're actually on set shooting. Actually, I
know.
won't even believe it then. Kathleen Kennedy will have to put me on a plane, fly me to location, and let me actually see everything being shot before I believe
Yeah.
that Star Wars movie is happening.
Look, I mean, for me, I'm excited about all this, and until I see it, I choose to be excited.
Apparently, Clayface is James Watkins, who did.
Oh, I think they did announce that.
Speak
Yeah.
No Evil and.
Yeah, they did.
They've
They
got
did.
a lot of interesting things coming. So here's hoping. Guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? I mean, Jason Momoa is now wrapped. He's done. They've been filming already since January. He's now done. The whole film will finish wrapping in just a few weeks. Are you excited about it? And what do you think about the picture? You think it's legit? You think it's a little questionable? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right. By the way, just before we jump into the next topic, I'm going to point out one of our live chatters, Tim Manto. I just want to clarify something. Tim Manto is saying John Boyega is being rumored as Bishop. No, he is not. He is not being rumored for Bishop. He was at a convention recently where somebody asked him the question, would you play Bishop? And John Boyega said, sure, I'd play Bishop. That was it. There's no report going around that John Boyega is going to play Bishop. I think he'd be a great Bishop, but there's no report of that.
That's
Just
the
make it up
equivalent.
and say it's true right now.
That's why I keep telling people I'm Squirrel Girl.
It is true. I mean, he is Bishop.
Speak
It's
it
true.
into reality.
Exactly. It's called manifestation. Look it up.
It's the secret.
Yeah.
All right,
Really
guys,
good.
listen, with that all down, before we get on to your live questions, it's been about a week since we've done it, so we're going to play a little round of true or false. I asked you guys in our community and post tab on the YouTube channel earlier this morning if you have any true or false scenarios for us. A bunch of you guys put in a ton of them really quick. We picked out 5 or 6 of them. So let's go over to them. Jonathan, what do we got up?
Number one. Whoops, wrong button. New buttons today, guys. Me named Jeff says.
Named Jeff.
Rob, true or false? Dune 3 will make major alterations to the story to make the film more accessible to general audiences.
Like he's suddenly not going to exterminate billions of people and he's going to turn into a really nice guy.
Yeah.
No, here's the thing. Adaptations always have to make some kind of alterations. But I don't see the story of Dune Messiah being altered to the point of being unrecognizable. I think the Dune movies are already challenging for everybody. That's what makes them great. So I don't think they're going to I think false. The answer is false.
I'm going to say true. I mean, number one, I think we saw Denis make some significant alterations to the first 2 Dune movies, especially with Chani and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think Dune Messiah poses, I mean, this has always been my thing, some very fan unfriendly stuff that is in it that I think is going to be difficult for fans. I think, like, look, do I still think the Great Jihad is happening out there? Yes, that's still going to happen. But, like, remember things about Paul Atreides dissing out into the desert and being some blind prophet that nobody knows? Like, I just think there's a number of those things that they're going to change. So is it still in essence going to be the story? Yes. But do I think there's going to be significant alterations? I think more significant than we got in the first 2. So I'm going to say true. Chris, what about you?
As somebody who's not read the book and only knows what you guys have said, I'm going to say true because I keep hearing about how this book is not as great. And so I think there's going to be a lot of alterations made.
All right. What's our next question?
All right. From Duco Donkersteeg Films. Chris, true or false? A new Fantastic Four First Steps trailer will be released online before Thunderbolts hits theaters.
Oh, sorry. What was the question?
A new
Jeez.
Sorry.
a new
I didn't realize
Fantastic
this was for
Four
me.
trailer will be released before Thunderbolts is released.
Oh, true. Yeah.
I think they need to get it out
I
there.
feel like there's no
Any
explanation
reasoning
there.
to that?
Well, because marketing, Like, why would you not? I don't. They're already showing us all these sneak peeks. They're already showing us all these other different looks. I think there's definitely going to be another trailer to get us excited about. Oh, and Thunderbolts. Maybe I'll learn more about Fantastic Four, where this is going.
Especially if they're saying before. I think he means even like in theaters. So I bet you that
Like,
trailer.
while
this
you're
will
in,
have,
in the theater, you're going to see one. I would assume.
So when does Thunderbolts come out? May 2nd? Is that when it is?
Yeah, I think
so. We're still a
so.
few weeks away. Yeah, I'm going to go true as well. I mean, look, we are getting actually pretty close to Fantastic Four coming out. Traditionally you have 3 big trailers. The first one's already out there. Yeah, I think they would drop the second one right around Thunderbolts, probably before. And then that still leaves like 4 weeks until then they drop the big final third trailer for it, like 4 or 5, 6 weeks before they do that. So I'm going to say true that we do get another trailer before Thunderbolts. Rob?
100% true. I mean, that's just the pattern. I mean, they kind of have to do that.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they?
All right, what's next?
Well, we got King Churros. Sounds delicious. True or false, John? The Odyssey will give Tom Holland his first Oscar.
Now, listen, some Oscars are being handed out by Christopher Nolan. I mean, his last film, a couple of his actors got Oscars, but I'm going to say false. And the reason I'm going to say that is this, and I know everybody's going to take this the wrong way. I am a big Tom Holland fan. I think he's great. And he's still young. He's not a kid, but he's still young. He's only going to get better. I do not believe he is at a place that he's an Academy Award winner. I don't think he's there yet. He's fabulous. He's incredible. He's great. Basketball analogy. I really love Austin Reeves on the LA Lakers. I think he's a great player. Do I think he's going to win MVP of the NBA next year? No, but I still think he's great. I'm a big fan. I think Tom Holland could get there someday, but it ain't going to be for the Odyssey. So I'm going to say false. Chris?
How could I say if I haven't seen the stinking movie?
Well, you're speculating, you're guessing,
I'm just saying,
you're
like,
pontificating.
he's a wonderful actor who I think has made some very bad choices in what he's decided to go do, but he's always shown up in them really, really well. So my hope is that if he is working with somebody like Nolan, that he can be guided onto a really beautiful journey and do some really incredible work. Oscar nomination, maybe not. Golden Globes. So let's go false.
Get him with the Golden Globes.
Rob, what about you?
Well, again, it's hard to say. I don't think that his role is going to be like significant where he's part of a big ensemble cast, and we don't know what the hierarchy of that cast is yet, but I'm going to say false as well. I think one day Tom Holland has the potential to win an Oscar, but he's got to work
5-10 years down the road.
He's got to diversify his portfolio in terms of roles and stuff he's got to do. So, I mean, look at how many times Leonardo DiCaprio played different roles before he won his first Oscar.
All right. What's the next one?
All right. We got Seal S. Spriggs says, true or false, Fantastic Four First Steps will leave fans divided on opinions of its quality.
Completely false. Absolutely false. Oh, did you ask me that? I couldn't remember. Anyway, but I started off anyway.
That's okay. Go ahead. No.
It's your show.
Completely false. Because look, when you use the term divided, right? What does that mean? What does that look like? If you have 5,000 fans in a room and one didn't like it, is that divided? I would say no. So if you're saying divided as in the audience score falls somewhere between 40 and 60%. Let's say that becomes our definition of it divides the audience. Somewhere between an audience score of 40 to 60%. No chance. I think even if it's not that good of a movie, I think more audiences will still be pleased with it. I think it's definitely going to get a higher than a 60% audience rating. Again, impossible to say for certain until we see the film, but if we're guessing, I don't see any chance that this thing divides the fan. This is definitely going to be above 60% audience rating. Rob, what do you think?
I think false as well, because look, I think for fans, he said fans.
Yeah.
If the movie works, it's going to work for most fans. If it doesn't, same is true. So I don't think it's going to be divisive. Like
there will be
fans.
some who don't like it for sure, but if you're going to say divide, then you're suggesting that it's somewhat evenly split, somewhere between 40 and 60%, and I just don't think that's the case.
No, I think the fan base is either going to really embrace it or not.
Yeah.
It's not going to be either
And down
or.
the middle. Chris, what do you think?
I want to say false, but I don't know because they're making some big swings here. So I wonder how people are going to feel about it. of having it set in this kind of like mod 60s world and another universe and yada, yada, yada. But yeah, typically the fans for Marvel thus far tend to unite. So yeah, I think it's going to be critics who are probably the weird ones about this.
Yeah,
whether
then
or
the
not it's a great
critics, the
film.
critics very
Yeah.
well could be divided on
Yeah.
it. I just like in that 40 to 60. I just don't see that happening with the fans.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
All
how
right.
many more left?
2.
All right.
So Rob Walker Lens asks, true or false, there will be more than 7 movies to make $1 billion of global box office this year. So more than 7.
Are we at 1 now?
We're at none yet.
0.
Well, yeah, 0. 1's projected for 1, but
I'm gonna say false.
yeah, I don't know about that.
$7 billion film. Yeah, false.
Yeah.
Maybe 6.
I don't even think 6. I mean, listen, there are definitely a number of films that have the potential to be billion-dollar films, but it's always only a certain percentage of the ones with potential that actually do it. I mean, Lilo and Stitch, I think that'll be a billion-dollar film. Minecraft is well on its way to becoming a billion-dollar film. Avatar is an ironclad guarantee.
Jurassic World.
I wouldn't even say Jurassic World's a guarantee.
Yeah, it could end up being 800 or 900 mil, or
Like,
you know.
other than Avatar, I don't know that there is a lock-in, complete guarantee billion-dollar film this year. I don't think Fantastic Four will be. I don't think Thunderbolts will be. I don't think Superman will be.
They're saying Zootopia 2 in the
Zootopia
chat,
2 has a definite shot at it.
Potential.
Lilo and Stitch has a shot.
but it's not like a slam dunk.
But yeah, you would literally need everyone that has the potential to be a billion-dollar film to all overperform and all do it.
Yeah.
And I don't even think we're going to get 5 this year. So I'm definitely going to say false. Chris?
Absolutely false. I think 7 is wildly optimistic. And I mean, you just look at the numbers. Look at how the box office has been. Excellent films are not doing those numbers, right? So
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think Wicked 2. Someone mentioned Wicked 2, but
It's got a chance. I mean,
it's
the
got a
first
chance,
one-
the first
too.
one didn't, right? So
Well, no, but you know the trajectories. The second one's going to
Yeah.
make way more than the first
Especially with
one
how did it did on streaming.
Yeah, it's
But yeah,
but-
it's not a locked guarantee.
definitely not. Yeah. So yeah, I think we're going to go false around the board.
all right, last one. Chris from Kauhi 2 MVP says, true or false, Mission Impossible Final Reckoning will make less than 500 million.
True. I'll make less. I don't think people are particularly excited about these movies. Although, hey, maybe with the stunt category happening in the next few years, people will get a bit more jazzed. But I feel like the last few films just haven't performed in the way that they've wanted to. I don't think it'll.
Fallout was under 8.
Yeah.
I'm going to say true that it will make over 500 million, but that it's close. I don't see it making a lot more than
No.
5. Like I'm talking 570.
I was gonna say I think 5 is a very good number
Yeah,
for that
5
movie.
is the perfect target
Yeah.
number. I think so. I could see it coming under that, but I think the marketing for it so far has been wonderful. They've done a better job with the marketing on this one than they did in the last one.
Yeah.
Because with the last one, we literally for 2 years watched special features of the cliff jump. Literally for 2 years, we saw it 100 times.
Yep.
They're doing a really good job with the marketing on this one. I see it making more than the last one. I don't think it's an $800 million film, and it's going to be close. 500 is a great target. I'm going to say true. It makes just over. Rob?
I'm gonna say true. It makes over 2. Although it opens Memorial Day, right?
Yeah.
So they should change the title to Mission Impossible: Stitch's Final Reckoning,
Oh.
because they go up against one another. But you know what?
Are they opening at the same time?
Well, it's Memorial Day weekend, right?
Yeah. Is
Oh
this
my
gonna be our
gosh.
Barbenheimer?
Well, that's why if they start calling it Stitch's Final Reckoning, maybe, you know. But look, I think this movie's going to do well, only because it
Mission
looks
Lilo and
terrific.
Stitch.
It does look terrific.
I mean,
yeah.
the trailers, it has the scope. I think they made a course correction from Dead Reckoning Part 1, which is now not Part 1. I think everything I've seen from this movie looks awesome. Can't wait to see it. And if it delivers the goods, if it's not, if it's totally incoherent in terms of the plot, like Dead Reckoning was, I just think this movie's going to probably end up doing close to Fallout business, if it's that good. I mean, I could see it getting up to 700
Fallout's
million.
the biggest one, I think.
It is.
All right. And guys, that's it for that little round of true or false. Thank you to everybody who sent in questions. And guys, keep your guys' eyes open for when we put up the posts on our community and post tab on the YouTube channel asking for you guys to submit questions. The posts are usually only up for like 10 or 15 minutes because so many of you guys flood in your answers. But just keep your eyes open for it. And maybe you'll find your submission picked to be used on the show. All right, guys. With that all down, it's time for us to say goodbye to Chris and Rob. Thank you guys again.
Bye.
Awesome show.
Bye.
Well done. And it's now time for us to move on to the most important part of our show, which is, of course, taking your live comments and questions. So let's get into it. Jonathan, what we got up first?
First up, we got Frederick, who says, this Thursday, it's the final episode of the 3rd season of Wheel of Time. This season is by far my favorite and have had a continuously high standard with some really good episodes. It's really picked up after a somewhat disappointing first season.
Yeah, again, we've been flooded with people talking about how much they really like Wheel of Time Season 3. Now, I have not watched Season 3 yet. I watched Season 1. I thought it was all right. It was all right. Then I watched Season 2, and it was definitely an improvement. Like a solid improvement. But I haven't gotten around to Season 3 yet, but everybody's saying it's been just wildly good, and I'm excited about getting around and getting caught up on it. All right, what's next?
All right, we got Sounder, who says, is the Indiana Jones IP dead, or do you think the incoming new Lucasfilm president should address the future of the franchise? I personally wouldn't mind a recast in the series order on Disney Plus.
No, I don't want Indiana Jones on Disney Plus.
Nor do I.
Don't Disney Plus Indiana
Recast
Jones.
it, but not.
Don't cheapen the brand like that. Yeah. The current iteration of Indiana Jones is dead. It's done. Harrison Ford's been very clear. He's out. He's done. But there is no way, there is no chance that we don't have another Indiana Jones movie by, what are we at now? 2025? By 2035. We're going to have maybe even a little bit sooner than that, with a recast back to the Nazi era, Adventures of Indiana Jones. And it's just too valuable of an IP. It's just way too valuable of a property. And they'll go back to the drawing board. They'll restart the franchise again, and it'll either be great or it won't be great. We'll find out, but they'll definitely do it again, 100%. All right, what's next?
Raymond says, congrats to Minecraft on its big second weekend. How cool was Jack Black coming to visit the movie theater audience and remind people not to throw things? Peace, everyone. Just have fun. I still won't see it.
Yeah, I mean, so apparently I read about that. Jack Black actually went to a movie theater to personally tell people, calm the fuck down. I didn't use those words, but don't be throwing shit at people and all that kind of nonsense. Actually, it's funny because I talked to a general manager at a movie theater who said they have specifically been considering cutting out Minecraft times because of how much work has to be done in the theater and that complaints from people about how other patrons are behaving. It would just really suck if something like that happened and affected the box office for the movie. Anyway, all right, what's next?
WP says, hi, crew, longtime viewers based in UK. I have my 70mm IMAX tickets booked for Sinners at BFI on Friday. Excited with the reviews so far. Apparently, there's several post credits for the film. Reckon they're setting up for a franchise. Must be confident with it.
I have not heard anything about them. I'm going to look this up. About there being post credit scenes in Sinners. I mean, you got to let us know. I'm going to doubt those reports, but if you go see it and you see that there are post-credit scenes, let us know, because I would not be planning on sticking around.
Yeah, don't tell us what they are. Just tell us that they
just
exist.
because if there's actually post-credit scenes, that's kind of interesting. By the way, it's been ruined.
Oh no, what happened?
Sinners is no longer at 100%.
Oh no!
You know what? We'll find those people.
It's at 98.
We'll find them.
Wow! 98.
I'm
Who
gonna
is it?
see. I'm gonna see.
Who
if I
did
can,
it?
Oh, here it is.
Jason.
Somebody from Eskimo TV, which I've never heard of.
Eskimo TV. Wow.
You were supposed to be balanced
Again,
to the force.
Eskimo.
Yeah, I think that's the only one.
Wow, guy.
Let me see if there's maybe there's two, but no, it looks like that's just it.
You
There's
think
just
he did
the
it
one.
for 30 days a night, just to, make that the best
All positive rating. It's official, guys. The 100% has been eliminated.
Well, every party has an Eskimo TV, and that's you,
It's
Jason.
done.
ever. Eskimo TV. Should we take the
It's
time to
out.
read it? Should we take the time to read it?
Well, I mean, listen, I'm sure if he wrote a negative review, it's because he honestly didn't think he didn't feel it was that
Oh,
good.
I
That's
see.
fair. That's fair. It's just unfortunate that it only took one. Only took one to ruin the 100% on
Why are we
Sinners.
even
Oh, well.
doing this show anymore?
C
All right.
plus. Jeez.
All right.
Garden Variety says, John, talking Jack Black, did you know that he was college friends in theater with Tim Robbins suggested him for early roles?
Him and Tim Robbins are even remotely close in age?
And it could have been within 4 years apart or 3.
No. Ray, look up the age
Yeah.
of Tim Robbins and look up the
Sure.
age of Jack Black. Let me see the wording on that question again.
He says that he was college friends in
66.
theaters with Tim Robbins, who suggested, you know,
Jack Black is 55 and Tim Robbins
they're
is
11 years
56.
apart.
They're 11 years apart. They could have been in
When he-
college together.
Tim Robbins is just a slow learner. You know, he needed
He took his 7th major. Oh, okay. If that's true, that is interesting. All right, what's next?
Maybe he was like the Matthew McConaughey character in what's it called? You know,
That's
just
the
never
great
left.
thing about seniors.
Yeah.
They just I keep getting older, but they
These
stay the
days
same
they
age.
Yeah, Cassidy says Sinners is being said. It's really huge and a great movie. Also, there's supposed to be some form of magic in this movie. I had no clue. Well, vampires are sort of magic.
Well, yeah, if there's vampires, you got to assume there's some
Yeah.
kind of magic.
I cannot wait for this movie. Hopefully, this catapults black cinema.
Well, I mean, there's been a lot of great cinema that has done that. I mean, it's not like this is going to be the one movie to come around and do that. There's already been a ton of it. I'm just hoping for a great movie. And Ryan Coogler is absolutely one of the best we've got in the business right now. I mean, his track record, his batting average right now is insane. My least favorite movie of his is Black Panther 2. But every other one of his movies have been like outstanding. And so I'm very excited for Sinners, man. I can't wait to see this. All right, what's next?
Lil Bernie says, last night I watched a Last of Us season 1, episode 2, thinking it was season 2, episode 1. Got a little transpose there and couldn't figure out why everything in the show seems familiar. Then today's Campea Show described the actual episode. I'm an idiot.
You know what? That can happen. I don't know why. Like when I loaded up Max
I did it too.
and the new episode was out, it said season 2, episode 1, now streaming.
Took you to episode 1 of season 1.
And it took me to episode 1, season 1.
Same thing happened to me, and I watched it for a little bit, and I was like, wait.
Yeah, what's going on? Is this all? This is a really long flashback. This is a really long. Are we redoing this?
They do. I think Max and a lot of other streamers need to work on their headers. If they're going to have a link up there,
Yeah.
make sure it links to the right video.
All right, what's next?
Jerry, hey crew, regarding the leaked picture of Doctor Doom, for me it could be real, especially because in Kang Dynasty there were the 3 main villains that were all Kang variants, so this could be a variant of the present Doom, and there may be a third, I don't know.
Well, look, the only reason I think there could be some validity to it is because and again, I have no idea if it's real or not, but the reason I'll give it some credence is because if you're going to make a fake one, you'd make a more interesting fake one. Like he's literally standing on a photo shoot slide, right? That white wall with the curve down to the floor. I've had studios that have had those with the lighting stand, stuff like that. That's specifically a promotional photography shoot. So he's taking promotional shots there for the movie. That'll either be something for a poster, something for the side of a fast food cup, a toy box, something like that. And it looks pretty legit for that type of a setting. And I just don't know why if somebody's going to fake the image, why they would put it there and not like on a set or something. Anyway, it may be real, it may not be. I don't think they're going to I don't think we're going to get Doom variants. I don't think they're going to overcomplicate the soup by having a bunch of multiple Doom variants. They may have been planning something like that for Kang, but they threw that story out for a reason. So I'm going to guess it's just going to be one Doctor Doom. Whether this is him or not, I don't know, but we'll find out.
You think it's Whistler?
He's Whistler.
Feature Whistler.
There you go.
Whistler is Doom. Is Tony Stark.
Blade confirmed.
All right, what's next?
Bobby says, thoughts on Gasper? No, I love his style, and though some of see his work as provocative for the sake of it, I find his films impactful and an honest reflection of reality, which can
I have no
sometimes be
idea who he
shocking.
is. I have no idea.
I had
who
to
he
look
is.
him up. I mean, he did a couple things that I recognize, but I haven't seen him.
Such as?
No, well, he did something with Thomas Bangalter, who's one half of Daft Punk, and some other like French DJs and stuff like that. But
Oh, is that who he is? He's part of Daft Punk?
no, but I think he's worked with them.
Oh, that he's worked with
musician.
them. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know who he is. I don't care. All right, what's next?
JCB Primal says, "Hey John, I'm going to Vegas this weekend for WrestleMania. What
Nice.
are two good recommendations for places to eat? Since I don't have a 40x where I live, I was wanting to go to one there. But do you think Sinners would be worth the 40x experience and price?"
I wouldn't want to see Sinners in 40X.
Yeah, I'd want to do like an F1.
Yeah,
or something
F1
like that.
Twister. So I think Sinners, go see that in just the best theater you can. Unfortunately, my favorite restaurant in Vegas just shut down last month, which I'm really bummed out about. Ann and I just discovered a place in Resorts World. It's a brand new Asian buffet. It's Jinting. Is that what it's called? Genting. It starts with a G,
yeah.
but it's anyway. It's an Asian buffet.
Yeah, look it up.
And oh my God, it was good. It was so good. So that's one of it. The other recommendation I'll make is the Bacchanal buffet at Caesar's Palace. It's the best, by far. It's the best buffet in Vegas, the Bacchanal buffet, but it's expensive. You're looking at paying $80 to $100 per person. So that's why we do it like once a year. But it is fabulous. And another place that we really love eating in Vegas. Where did we go? We spent what was the name of that steak place we went to, right?
Oh, Peter Luger's.
Peter Luger's was
that's
also happens to be in
super pricey.
Caesars, was also really, really good. So yeah, listen, the thing about Vegas is it's amongst all the other things that the city embodies, it's like the greatest food city in the world. Like maybe you can make an argument for Paris and stuff, but I mean, like all because it's such a tourist place, like there's so many great places to eat there. You won't have a problem.
And even yet, that I hear there's like a great place where you could get like $2 hot dogs, and everyone goes there too. So just look around, depending on your budget,
Yeah.
you'll find something definitely.
All right, what's next?
Venom's dentist says, on paper, a live-action Pokemon movie could have outperformed a live-action Minecraft movie. Why do you think the 2019 Pokemon movie didn't blow up as much? Marketing, casting, plot, meme ability. Thanks. Keep up the amazing work. That's Detective Pikachu.
Listen, I've been trying to tell people forever, and nobody ever wants to seem to listen, that just because something is popular in something doesn't mean it's going to translate into a movie. Like, I still remember, like, John, you don't get it. Pokemon is the most popular IP. That's the argument I got a lot. Clearly, John doesn't know that Pokemon is the #1 most popular IP in the world. No, I know. But it doesn't mean people are going to go see a movie about it. Winnie the Pooh, I remember I brought this up. On the same study that showed that Pokemon, this is at the time, was the #1 most popular brand IP in the world, Winnie the Pooh was #5, which surprised me. I said, so how did Winnie the Pooh movie do? It made like $180 million, something like that, grand total. So listen, Detective Pikachu, how much did it make, Ray?
Oh yeah, let me check.
I think it was like 400, and it's either the high 400s or the low 500s, somewhere in there somewhere.
Got you.
When a movie makes that much money,
450.
450.
54 opening.
When a movie makes that much money, you shouldn't be asking the question, what went wrong? Well, it made a decent amount of money. There is no reason why it should have made more. Just because the brand is popular, we've seen this lesson over and 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 over again, that just because the brand is popular does not automatically mean it. Like people say, they made a Dragon Ball Z movie, it would make $1 billion. Really? They made a Dragon Ball Z movie. Now you can make an argument that Dragon Ball Z today is more popular than it even was back then. That's a valid argument. And if you do a great one, maybe it could. But this, again, I'm not saying things aren't possible. I'm just saying that just because something is a big popular IP, something must have went wrong if it didn't make $1 billion. No, you still got to do all the things that a movie does. So
That's why I'm very interested to see how this Masters of the Universe is going to do. Just because we got a Masters of the Universe back then, they're trying to bring it back to life. Let's see. It looks like it's going to be closer to like the toys and cartoons from what we've seen. So let's see how this turns out. I'm very curious to see how this movie. I don't think it's going to do great, but
I don't think it's going to do great either.
yeah, I'm excited for it. But it'll be interesting to
I
see.
think but I mean, because of who the director is, right? Because you've got a great director directing it, it's got a chance to be a good movie. That's the most important thing. I don't care who's cast in it. I don't care about anything. Who's the director? That's your number one indicator about whether or not a movie has a chance to be good. And they've got an amazing director. So even though I have questions about the Masters of the Universe movie, I still have some faith it can be really good simply because of the director.
Yep.
All right, what's next?
Anonymous says, John, I agree with you wholeheartedly about sensitive men. However, I think in this instance with Last of Us, your listener was referring to when the character had said out loud, unless you want the men to handle it. Just my guess for this one occurrence. But who cares?
If you are so insecure that you take one line like that and you have to go, this show hates men, then I stand by everything I said.
Yeah. I mean,
all right.
Literally, like when
let's not spend any more time on this. Let's just move on.
CJ from New York says, John, yesterday when you imitated Charles Xavier wheeling himself down to Cerebro, it was really subtle, but I laughed my butt off. Just one example why you're the best when it comes to movie TV. You're my anchor being.
Oh.
Bring on the filthy.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, listen, again, it's the standard theory that, and again, Kevin Feige could figure a way around this. Absolutely. The standard theory that a lot of people have about how they're going to bring X-Men into the MCU is that they've just been hidden, right? They've been hidden. For those of you who didn't hear us talk about this the other day, that the mutants have stayed hidden, that at some point, Professor Charles Xavier went into Cerebro and he wiped the knowledge and memory of mutants from everybody on Earth. And that's how they've stayed hidden. The problem with that theory, as I expressed the other day, for those of you who weren't here, is that means Charles Xavier literally has to do that every 10 minutes of every day, of every week, of every month, of every year. Because, as the mythology goes, mutation manifests around puberty. For somebody who's born with the X gene and they manifest their mutation around puberty. And that can come out in a very public, very destructive, very chaotic way. Or lasers suddenly shooting out of a kid's eyes in a classroom or whatever. So if Charles Xavier wants to use Cerebro to wipe humanity's knowledge of mutants, he literally has to do it every 10 minutes of every day, of every week, of every month, of every year. So that makes that kind of impractical. But again, I mean, maybe Kevin Feige's figured out something around that. Maybe he's figured out a way to pick that lock. So we'll see what they do. All right, what's next?
We got Anonymous. Can theater at home release please just die already? It's infuriating. Captain America Brave New World was advertised to be releasing on digital today. So when I woke up this morning, I went to my on my Vudu to buy it. $25 to rent, $30 to buy. It's like, why would you rent it?
Well, that's their whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, we'll get $5 more out of them.
And by the way, you're not really buying it because they could pull it sometime in the future. Yeah, I mean, but listen, Captain America, it had a decent theatrical, it had a good theatrical window. They kept that thing in theaters for long enough.
Yeah, they did. It had nothing against it, really.
Yeah. So, and listen, but it's always going to be true. When they first when a movie first comes out on home video, it's always when it's at its most expensive. It's kind of like video games. When video games first come out, that's when they're at their most expensive.
So just buy it next year.
Yeah, just buy it in 5-6 months or buy next year, whatever. Or do the better thing. Go see it in the movie. If you're actually interested in the movie, go see it in the theaters.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Jedi Master Super Mario went to see Minecraft over the weekend. Before I could enter my theater, a kid got kicked out of a separate showing of for throwing popcorn, then pulled the fire alarm. We got evacuated and received free tickets. It's wild. The kids are acting up in theaters. They should have been walking him out, not just leaving him unsupervised.
Yeah, that kid should be charged.
Yeah. And hopefully they ban him from the theater.
People can get hurt. You pull a fire alarm in a place, you can cause panic and people can actually get hurt.
He sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah, that's horrible. Anyway, all right, what's next?
Nobody likes that kid. Braun H says, given all the economic chaos, is there any weight to the idea Canada could angle themselves to create a Canadian Hollywood alternative? Maybe in British Columbia.
I forget the nickname. There's already a nickname for filming in I think they call it Hollywood North.
Yeah, it's a lot in Vancouver.
There is a lot of production that goes on in Vancouver and things. But I mean, look, Hollywood is Hollywood, not because production happens there, because that's where all the studios are. That's why Hollywood's Hollywood. I just read a new report the other day. I don't know if you saw it, Jonathan, where like
You're right,
the amount of production actually happening in Los Angeles has dropped significantly. Like there is no more expensive place in the world to shoot something. You got to have so many expensive permits and all this kind of stuff if you want to shoot something in LA.
Yeah, they got to fix that.
Whereas all these other cities around America and in other countries like Canada are not only making it easier to shoot, but they're like, we'll give you tax incentives. We'll make it easy for you to shoot here. And that's why so much production happens that's like when Stephen Amell called me that one time, he was actually in Vancouver shooting Arrow. That's where they shot it. That's where they shoot a lot of stuff. So there's already kind of something like that up there in a way. But as long as the studios are all located here, this is always where Hollywood is going to be.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
123 Monkey says, I'm excited for Supergirl. The question is will Supergirl have a big part in Superman if she's in it?
No, it's going to be a glorified cameo. I'm not saying she's just going to fly in and fly out, but I think at most 3 minutes of screen time, 4 minutes of screen time. I really don't think she's going to be in it much. All right, what's next?
We got Cody Hunt Films. Just started watching Daredevil Born Again. I never saw the Netflix show. How blind is Matt Murdock? There are moments in the show and in combat where I'm like, no way he can see that. I know he's a really good lawyer, but damn.
Well, I would recommend go back and they kind of explain how he does all that in the first in the Netflix season of Daredevil.
In several iterations and in the comics.
Yeah, they explain it. It's been explained. I won't sit here and do it all over again, but easy to find how he does that. But he's perfectly blind. He is absolutely blind. All right, what's next?
Mega Red. I'm going to LA for my first time over Memorial Day weekend. I need all the suggestions for a movie lover. I'm going to Universal Studios. The Warner Brother tour is really cool.
Yeah.
Hopefully catch Mission Impossible with the Chinese. That'd be awesome. Any other must-see recommendations? I mean, there's a lot. I mean, you can hit me up. You can private message me. I'll help you out. But there's so many.
Yeah, I mean, but you really nailed the ones I would initially recommend, right? Like you want to do the Universal Studios tour, but you go to Universal Studios Hollywood, you go into the theme park, and then you get on the tram studio tour thing. That's kind of half tour, half ride. It's wonderful. I love it. I get on that thing every time Anna and I go to Universal Studios. I take it every time. The Warner Brothers lot tour is great if you're a film and TV fan. Going to the Chinese, I mean, that's really it. Those are the big ones that I would touch on. The other one I would modestly suggest, if you're watching The Studio, or if you watched La La Land or 100 other movies where it's been featured, there's a restaurant in Burbank called Smokehouse.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we've talked about it a few times here. Number one, it's just a wonderful restaurant. Mm-hmm. It's owned by George Clooney. And it's featured in a lot of production, including the big famous, bar restaurant scene in La La Land. That was shot in Smokehouse. Smokehouse was just prominently featured in the last episode of The Studio. So I would recommend, there it is.
Oh yeah, they mentioned the garlic bread. I started laughing at
Yes, we did too. Like we were just talking about how great the garlic cheese bread is at Smokehouse. That's still exactly how it looks.
Yeah.
Even though that's clearly an older picture of Clooney.
Sure.
But there it is. It's in Burbank.
Direct,
you don't have to make a reservation 3 months in advance or anything like that. I would make a reservation, but you don't have to long in advance. So that would be on top of the stuff you're doing. I would recommend go check out Smokehouse.
Yeah, I mean, directly, you can literally see in this picture here. There's Warner Brothers Studios. That's how close it is.
It's right across the street from the Warner Brothers Studios.
Literally right there. So, all right. Mega Red follows up. Continuing my late question, are any of you foodies? Kind of address that a little bit. Where are some delicious spots I could eat? Again, if you want to direct message me, I've helped people out that are visiting.
Yeah, again, it's LA, man.
Yeah.
Everything you could possibly imagine of every kind and shape, you'd have to be a little bit more specific.
Yep.
But enjoy yourself, man. Have a good time.
Bry Guy, to me, Azerbaijani chef Kenan Badalon is to YouTube cooking shows what shrinking is to Apple TV Plus. Wow. Please recommend me any of your favorite food channels I should check out. I don't know, Ray, do you watch any food channels?
I just watch whatever's on TV. The last thing I watched was Chopped, I guess. It was and there's also this new show with Gordon Ramsay. It's teams compete with each other, but all the ingredients are on this thing that goes up and down. So every team's
gimmicky.
It's very gimmicky, but I can't think of one.
You were at one of on
Kitchen
the show,
Nightmares.
weren't you, John?
I was at a Kitchen Nightmares shooting.
Yeah.
For the twins guys in I think it was Pasadena. No, it was Glendale. We were on that show. Yeah, it's funny because you always know when they're going through the cycle of the reruns because out of 2 times every year, I'll get a sudden influx of messages. Did I just see you and Anna on Kitchen Nightmares or whatever the show was? It's like, yep, that was us. I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, the one channel I really like, and I can't even remember the name of the channel. I think Spoon is in the name of it.
Oh, okay.
But it's no dialogue. There's no talking. And you never even see the chef's face.
Oh, okay.
It's just quietly, you just see the bowl. He brings out 3 eggs.
Yeah, it's one of those silent.
Yeah, and there's just
those are
some
great.
music playing in it, and the stuff that person makes always looks so freaking delicious. It's unbelievable.
The last thing I remember, food related that I watched is that guy with the beard who does the food challenges.
But that's not a making.
I know,
food
but
thing.
yeah, but that's the last
It's
food.
called Beard Meets Food.
Yeah,
and like
I've been
Ann
watching
and I,
him lately.
We watch him. His newest one was funny because I'm a major ice cream fiend.
Oh yeah, I saw
and
that one.
His newest one is doing this giant Sunday challenge. Yeah, we really like Beard Meets Food. All right, what's next?
Kevin says, "Hi, John and crew. Given the praise Sinners is receiving, how much potential do you think it has to gain legs through word of mouth and reach 700?"
Oof.
I think 700's the ceiling. Because again, this is not going to be, no matter how good it is, it's not going to be for everybody, right? This is a violent, risque, vampire horror film that apparently also has a lot of sex. It's not going to be for everybody. So I think 700 is its upper. I think closer to 5 is its main goal, and anything over 350 I think is a big win for a movie like this. All right, what's next?
Miguel says, "Will Star Wars Celebration showcase any upcoming movies, TV shows this weekend?" By the way, it's this weekend.
What do they? Oh, they asked her. Who cares?
Star
Like,
Wars Celebration.
What do they have?
I thought it was the destination thing though.
No, that's you're thinking D20. Star Wars Celebration is happening in Japan this year. I honestly, what would they have to showcase? I mean, the only thing that I can really think of is The Mandalorian. So they're not shooting any other movies. Are they shooting any other shows?
The people scheduled to appear are Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean that they're in anything.
Right.
So I really don't know what they would have to showcase other than the Mandalorian movie. That's all I can. Maybe some announcements, but I don't think they'd have anything to show. Anyway, all right, what's next?
Brian has a 2-parter. Hi, John. The season premiere of The Last of Us was great, and I do like that they introduced Abby right out of the gate, but unless it's mistaken, they didn't mention her dad specifically in that scene. She just placed a firefly pendant over a cross. Let's see, and then it's right here. However, they mentioned him in the bonus feature episode, and that's the only reason my non-gamer girlfriend knew Abby lost her dad. Was that oversight? Are they waiting to reveal that for non-gamers in a later episode? Didn't seem clear.
It was absolutely clear. I mean, what wasn't clear was the specific person, but what was abundantly clear was that she lost loved ones. Remember, this community, this is an isolated world, right? Like anybody who did survive, they live in isolation. They live in pockets and whatever. Those people standing in that graveyard, they just lost everyone they knew and loved. They just lost everyone they knew and loved. Now, they may not have mentioned specifically that one of those people was her dad, but was clearly implied there. They just lost their whole community. Now, they might come around to mention that, and by the way, I'm sure several of those people lost parents or siblings or spouses or children or whatever, depending on how they decide to write into the show. So all that was important at the moment was not the specific person who died, but it was clearly communicated. They just lost everybody they knew and loved. And I think that was the important message. We'll probably get into some flashbacks moving forward to figure out who specifically she lost. But yeah, I think it was perfectly communicated the way it was. All right, what's next?
Redfish 1, a pet peeve of mine is when movies refuse to develop characters they plan to kill. Avatar, The Way of the Water is a particular egregious example of this. It doesn't remove the illusion of plot armor when you're practically screaming from the start, who will bite it?
I don't think Avatar did that.
I don't think I knew that his son was necessarily going to die.
I was shocked when the kid died. Like, I was absolutely shocked. I never for 1 second thought the movie was screaming that this kid's going to die. Listen, I'm sure there are times when you think, oh man, this movie's screaming this kid's going to die, and then they don't. But I'm just saying, for me, because that happens to me for sure, I never once felt that in that movie. Again, I'm not trying to discount your experience with it. I'm just saying my experience was different. That's all. I never once felt that. All right, what's next?
Yeah. Tevin says, hi, John. Given the praise. Oh, wait, we just read that one. It just doubled up. Sin Vendetta, back when you guys did your coverage of the Amazon presentation of Project Hail Mary with Rob gushing about it, it convinced me to buy and read the book. I finished it last week, and the book is fantastic.
Yep.
And now I'm really excited for the movie in 2026.
You know, it's funny. We were driving home from Vegas, and I think it was me, Ann, and Ray. Rob left the night before we did. And so it was me, Ann, and Ray in the car. And we actually thought about downloading the audiobook and just listening to it in the car ride on the way home. For some reason, I couldn't get it to work, so we just didn't do it. But yeah, Rob has been very excited about Project Hail Mary for a long time. And then when they showed us that presentation for it at CinemaCon, did they ever put anything up online that they showed us?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. They showed us like 10 minutes.
That was a long sizzle.
Maybe more.
A long sizzle.
They showed us a number of scenes. So, and guys, this movie, see, I never read Project Hail Mary. Guys, this movie looks so good. It looks so, like, Rob is even jumping the gun and guessing it's going to take home Best Picture at the Academy. It's going to have to go up against Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, but he's thinking, and listen, when you see how good this thing looks, I wouldn't be shocked if I could look into a crystal ball, see the future, and see that this movie has won Best Picture. I wouldn't be shocked at all.
Yeah, they picked what a great actor to actually take this role. Looks like there's going to be many scenes where he's going to be by himself. Ryan Gosling can entertain even when he's by
he
himself.
looks fantastic in it. He looks so good in it. All right, what's next?
Let's see. What do we got? The Black Man Beyond. Since Lobo is a bounty hunter, who do you think was hired to go after Supergirl? And do you think they will reveal it at any point in the movie?
Well, I mean, there's a couple things to keep in mind. Number one, this is based on a specific comic story. But as we always talk about, whenever a comic book movie is based on a certain comic book story, they never follow it directly. So there may or may not be things to pick up there. By the way, one of the other possibility is they don't even have Lobo as a bounty hunter. Again, I'm not saying that's likely. I'm just saying it is possible that in this universe, Lobo's not necessarily a bounty hunter.
I I'm thinking he's going to go on like a Loki journey where he starts off as the villain and then hopefully he becomes like one of the people, because we started liking Loki. I mean, from after he went up against the Avengers in Avengers 1, I think after that, what was the next movie?
I loved him right from Thor 1.
Right. Oh yeah, you're right. He was in Thor 1. Then he became the villain.
Then he came up in Avengers. So it could be one of those things where it's like a Batman Superman thing where it starts off where they're adversaries and then they end up cooperating, or maybe they just use Loki straight up as a villain,
or Lobo.
I mean Lobo. Maybe they just use Lobo straight up as a villain.
Yeah, they can't do it in one movie. Turn him like that. I want it to be a slow turn, throughout the movies.
Yeah. All right. What's next?
Mr. I says, Jason Momoa is a great fit as Lobo, although I would have loved if they had brought Lobo in years ago in the DCU with Danny Trejo. The only other person who could have been a great fit as Lobo, personal opinion, of course.
No.
He couldn't play it now.
Trejo had the voice.
I love Danny Trejo.
But he's going to be Danny Trejo.
But even back then, he was already, I think, in his 70s.
Yeah.
He's 81 in a month.
Yeah, he's already in his 80s.
LA's finest.
So I think the era for Danny Trejo, and again, I love Danny Trejo. Don't misinterpret me at all. But I think the era that he could have done something like that was much before they ever did the DCEU. All right, what's next?
Anonymous, regarding Cate Blanchett thinking of retiring, it reminds me of when Glenda Jackson retired and went to politics. If we had YouTube then, people would have been saying the same about her. Who knows? She may, after 20 years, could return.
Sure, anybody could, but that just gets into the discussion again. Like, I remember talking about, well, people take rare exceptions and they try to base arguments on it. Like, I remember I was in the live chat before the show started today, and somebody wrote in there, well, John, just look what happened to Andrew Garfield. So obviously Tom Hardy's going to be back. And it's like, but you're taking like some very, very rare occurrences compared against the vast, 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 vast majority. Like, yeah, maybe 1 or 2% of the time when an actor says, I'm not in something or I'm retiring or whatever, that gets walked back. But like 98% of the time it's true and it holds. So it's just another one of those things that, but again, when you get people like Quentin Tarantino or you get people like Cate Blanchett, who are creative forces of nature, I think this is more about the retiring thing than it is about not being in a project or something. But I think Quentin Tarantino means it when he says that I'm going to do a 10th film and then be done. I think he means it, but I don't think he's going to stick to it. He's too much of a creative force. 2 or 3 years will pass and he'll be sitting in a restaurant and an idea will flick into his head. And then maybe he'll ignore it for a minute. And then a week later, it'll pop back in his head again. And then he'll pull out a pen and just jot down a note on a napkin or something like that. And then suddenly he's written a screenplay, right? So you never know, but I think it's best just to, when somebody says they're going to do something, just believe they're going to do it. All right, what's next?
All right, we got 4 more. Theater worker, do not leave Sinners before the end. There is 100% end credits. Also, working in a theater showing Minecraft, we've had to implement curfews, treating it as if it's R-rated for evening shows because of the issues with teenagers.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's really, again, I will say this.
It became a thing. It became a TikTok thing, and now everyone copies
Yeah.
it.
Shocked.
I'm not.
No. I said that sarcastically.
It's just too, again, look, I am all for, I love the movie theater. I love having fun in the movie theater. But again, if you need to do something to have fun that takes away somebody else's enjoyment of being there, then you're just an asshole.
Well, and the whole thing of it too is like with teens, right? They have to amplify. So this is what one theater did. We got to go harder.
Yeah, we got to ruin it more
so it's
for
gonna
people.
get even worse.
We
They're
gotta,
gonna start ripping chairs out and stuff.
Yeah.
I won't be surprised if someone tries to throw something through the screen. Like, they're just idiots.
yeah, they're just idiots. And so is anybody out there who encourages it. It's just idiots.
Very
Anyway,
disappointing.
all right, what's next?
Chip Crisper. Hey, crew. Someone brought up Sinners After Credit stuff yesterday. According to Greg, Alba, and Coy, they saw it early and said that you got to stay for the end credits.
All right, there you go.
So
I
it's-
never heard any of that.
Yeah,
So.
I think it's kind of just stuff that's popped up. The film doesn't end when you think it does. 2 post credits cap the film off.
Well, there you go. See,
There it is.
if we had done the show today and I was going to go see Sinners tomorrow, then I just would have left as soon as I thought the movie was over. So I'm glad I'm finding this out.
So it is a Marvel movie.
It is tied in. It is Blade.
Blade!
It's Blade.
Oh my God.
It's Blade.
Warner Brothers and Disney
Ryan
working together.
Coogler. It is Ryan Coogler.
Yeah.
took one for the team.
Working together.
There we go. It took 2 studios to bring Blade.
Yeah.
It
And
took 2
Coogler
of
gets
them.
to own the rights. Crazy.
All right, what's next?
Swanson Burgundy. I've had so much crap thrown my way from viewers because the main reason I don't go to theaters anymore is because audience etiquette is dropping, and said it'll only get worse. I'm just whiny or oversensitive. Well, it's 2 years later and I effing call it. Well, but this is an outlier.
Yeah, listen, again, there's not a lot of people who go to the theater more than I do, and I extremely rarely have an issue or a problem. I'm in one of the most misbehaved cities in the world. And
Represent
like,
Inland Empire, baby.
I'm not saying that nothing ever happens, but I gotta say it's really rare that something happens to a point that it's a legit distraction from the movie. Like, yeah, somebody's phone goes off. Yeah. I mean, but really for the most part, I'm very, I'd say less than 5% of the time that I've gone to a movie theater do I have what I would call a disruptive occurrence in the movie from my other fellow film fans. But again, maybe I'm just lucky. But yeah, it doesn't happen that often for me.
Yeah, he should have just watched where he's comfortable with. If he feels unsafe in this theater or whatever reason, just, yeah.
All right, what's next?
Old Danny boy. Baby Soprano does a great job in Warfare.
Oh yeah, I still haven't seen Warfare.
Yeah, it's on my list.
All right, we were gone the weekend it came out, and then there was another film I had to see, and then I just never got around to seeing it. It's funny for me because once I will only review a movie.
1 week.
No, not even a week. One day.
Oh,
Like
wow.
if I can't see the movie the Thursday it comes out or the Friday, then I don't review it. And if I'm not reviewing it, then I turn my attention elsewhere to get caught up on shows I'm behind on or go see another movie or stuff like that. And because I didn't have the opportunity to see Warfare and it was far too late for me to review it, I've just kind of put it. I still plan on seeing it because I hear it's great, but it has to sit a little bit further on the back burner for me right now. All right. Was that it?
No, one more pop through.
All
Just Swanson again, just saying that before anyone rushes to say Minecraft stupidity is new or extreme, if for 5 years theaters aren't enforcing manners from their patrons, sending the message you can do what you want while showing a movie, what do you expect will come next?
I mean, I think there is some truth to that I do think movie theaters need to do a little bit more. Look, I don't think you have to have 5 armed security guards in every movie theater, but something as little, and this is where the Alamo Drafthouse does it better than anybody, right? They don't, like in AMC, they do a little thing like, and remember, please don't talkster text, or right? Alamo Drafthouse goes extreme. They go extreme, and they don't care. They'll throw your ass out. The moment you do anything in a movie theater that is disrupting the experience for people, they will come in and throw people's asses out. And thank God they do. I think even just, I always had great experiences watching movies at the ArcLight in Hollywood. And I think one of the reasons it did so well, for as far as the conduct of everybody in there, was that they literally had a staff person right before the movie starts come in and personally say, hey, everybody, thank you for coming to ArcLight tonight. We know there were a lot of other places you could have gone, and we're grateful you came here. You're about to watch this. It's this long. And please, we want to remind you, do not distract your fellow patrons. Please take this opportunity to turn off your phones. We will be checking into the theater here periodically to make sure that the audio and the sound and the visuals are all up to our standards, and to make sure that you're all having a pleasant viewing experience. Just a little thing like that.
Kind of lets everyone know we're here.
Yeah. And I think that goes a long way. I think movie theaters need to take the experience of their patrons a little bit more seriously.
Pretty soon we're going to have penalty boxes inside for each chair. So no one can bother each other.
You know what oddly had a positive effect on etiquette is when they switched to assigned seating.
Yeah.
When for some reason, audiences got quieter.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. So it was I've actually experienced since we got assigned seating that the movie going experience has been better.
Yeah.
But, all right, guys. And that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show podcast. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in questions. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it. And all of us involved with the show, thank you guys so very much for your support. Don't forget to come on back and join us again tomorrow. Remember, guys, I will be doing an out-of-theater reaction for The Accountant 2 tonight, so keep your eyes open on the channel for that. But our Daredevil Born Again open spoiler discussion post-game show will not be tonight because I'm going to be at that Accountant screening, but it will instead be tomorrow night. So you got tonight and tomorrow to make sure you watch the season finale. I want to thank the people in the room with me, Ray Ora.
Hey, see you guys tomorrow.
Jonathan Voico.
See you guys later.
Big thanks to Chris Carr and Robert Meyer Burnett. And thanks to you guys. My name's John Campea. And until next time, my friends, bye-bye.